The captive girl. The cell was cold, dark, silent. Only the sound of chains clinking echoed in the large metal room. The air smelled like rust and pain. Lyra hung from the ceiling, her blue skin bruised and covered in cuts. Her arms were stretched, out, chained tight, and her legs were locked in place. She had not eaten for days, she had not slept. But her eyes were still open, still alive. She was an alien girl from the planet Valeta. Her people were peaceful, they had no weapons. But now she was a prisoner of war, captured by the Kraygons, a violent and cruel alien race who loved war more than life. A metal door opened. Harsh light filled the room. A tall Kraygon guard walked in, followed by two more. Their skin was black and armored. Their glowing red eyes stared at Lyra with no pity. One of them walked close and slapped her face. "Still won't talk?" he growled. Lyra spat blood on the floor. "I will never help murderers." The guard hissed and raised a shock stick. Electricity cracked as it hit her ribs. She screamed but did not cry. They had tortured her for 7 days. They wanted codes, names, plans. But she had none. She was not a spy. She was a healer. She was only on the battlefield to help the wounded. But they didn't care. To the Kraygons, she was just an enemy. The guards left, laughing. One looked back and said, "Tomorrow, you die." When the door shut again, Lyra dropped her head. Her arms hurt so much she could no longer feel them. She whispered softly, "Please, someone." But no one came. Not from her people. Not from anyone. Until now. Far outside the ship, in the emptiness of space, a small craft approached. It was old, scratched, and barely held together, but it moved fast. Too fast. Inside, a man sat in the pilot seat. His name was Jace Carter, a human from Earth. He wore battle armor, but it was broken in many places. One eye was blackened. His lips bled. But he smiled. "I found you, Lyra," he whispered. Jace had heard of her from a friend, an alien soldier, who had died months ago. Before dying, the friend had said, "If you ever find the girl with blue skin and healer's hands, save her. She is more than she seems." Jace didn't know why. But he had searched, and now he had found her. On the most dangerous ship in Kraygon space, he tapped a button. The ship turned toward the Kraygon cruiser. Alarms went off on both sides. On the Kraygon ship, guards shouted in confusion, "An unidentified vessel is heading straight for us." "Fire," at it. But Jace didn't stop. His ship crashed right into the side hangar. Flames burst, metal flew. The lights inside the prison flickered. Guards screamed. In her cell, Lyra raised her head. Boom. She heard it. Another boom. Then screams. Her heart raced. Was it real? Footsteps outside. Heavy. Fast. Suddenly the door exploded. Smoke filled the room. And out of the smoke walked the human. He looked at her. She looked at him. For a moment they just stared. Then Jace stepped forward. "Hang on," he said. "I'm getting you out of here." Before Lyra could reply, voices shouted behind him. "Guards." Jace turned, aimed his plasma rifle, and fired. The hallway lit up with blue fire. He turned back, pulled out a tool, and began cutting her chains. One by one. Her body dropped, and he caught her. "You're real," she whispered. Jace grinned. "Let's keep it that way." Behind them, more guards ran toward the door. But Jace lifted her in his arms and ran. The Kraygon ship was now chaos. Alarms blared, fires spread, but in the middle of it all, a reckless human and a broken alien girl were running toward hope. Together, to be continued. A reckless human, enter smoke, rose from the broken hangar doors. Kraygon soldiers shouted as fire alarms screamed through the ship, but none of them noticed the human figure stepping through the smoke, until it was too late. His name was Jace Carter, and he didn't knock. He walked with a limp. Blood ran down his forehead, His armor was cracked, his weapon low on power, but his eyes were full of fire. He didn't come to fight a war. He came to save one life. Jace didn't wait. As soon as he entered the Kraygon warship, he raised his plasma rifle and fired. One guard fell, then another. He moved quickly, his boots echoing through the metal hallways. He didn't know exactly where she was. He didn't even know her name, until 2 weeks ago. But he remembered the voice of his old friend, a dying alien who once whispered, "She saved children during the fire on Valeda. She heals, not kills. If you find her, human, protect her." That was all Jace needed to hear. Now he was in the belly of a warship filled with killers. He passed broken cells, strange machines, and alien prisoners too scared to speak. The ship was like a nightmare. Dark lights, flashing warnings, and shadows. In every corner, Jace didn't care. He had already lost everything once. His squad, his home, his hope. He wasn't about to lose this girl. Level C, he muttered to himself. They always keep their special prisoners on level C. He kicked. Down a door. Wrong room. A Kraygon soldier turned and screamed. Jace shot first, then ran. Sirens grew louder. More soldiers gathered behind him. He turned a corner, fired behind him without looking. Sparks flew. He kept moving. Then, he found it. A large metal door, bigger than the others. It had red warning, lights and alien letters on it. He couldn't read Kraygon's script, but he could smell the pain behind it. He pressed his hand to the panel. It didn't open. He took a step back, raised a sticky grenade, and threw it. Boom. The door blew inward. Smoke filled the cell. Jace stepped inside, and there she was, chained by wrists and ankles, blue skin bruised, barely breathing, but still alive. Jace froze. This was the girl. This was Lyra. He had expected someone broken, weak, but even chained, she looked strong. She was glowing faintly, even in pain. Her eyes slowly opened. She stared at him, confused. "Who are you?" she whispered. "I'm the idiot who crashed a ship to get to you," Jace said with a crooked grin. "Name's Jace." She blinked. Why are you here?" "I made a promise," he said, "to someone who loved you, someone who said you mattered." Her lips trembled. "You're human." "Surprised?" he asked. "I thought humans were monsters." "I thought aliens were all killers." They both smiled weakly. Suddenly the ship shook. More guards were coming. They didn't have long. Jace rushed to the chains. He used a laser cutter to free her hands first. She fell forward, but he caught her. "You're light," he said. "You're crazy," she replied. "Maybe," he said. "Let's get out of here." He lifted her into his arms, her body barely able to move, but she wrapped her arms around his neck, trusting him. For a moment they were quiet. A strange warmth passed between them. In the middle of chaos, something gentle had formed. Then, footsteps, dozens of them, coming closer. Jace looked at the hallway, looked at his weapon. Only a few shots left. He held her tighter. "Hold on," he said. "I'm about to do something really dumb." And with that he ran straight into danger. One man, one alien girl, against an entire ship of killers. But Jace had something the Kraygons didn't. He had nothing left to lose, and he had her. To be continued. Chaos in the hallways. Jace ran with Lyra in his arms, her head resting on his chest. The halls of the Kraygon warship lit up with red flashing lights. Alarm sirens howled louder than thunder. Voices barked orders in alien tongues. Soldiers moved, like shadows behind them. He had no map, no plan, no backup. Only instinct. Only her. "Can you walk?" Jace asked, as he ducked behind a corner. Lyra groaned softly. "Maybe. Not far." He set her down gently against the cold wall. She tried to stand, but her knees shook. Jace handed her a plasma pistol. "Ever used one?" She looked at it. "I save lives, not take them." "Let's hope you keep that streak going. Stay behind me." Footsteps echoed down the metal floor. Jace looked around. A T-section hallway, one way blocked, the other open. But from the open direction, 3 Kraygon guards were charging toward them. He didn't wait. Jace fired, 3 quick bursts. The hallway lit up with blue plasma flashes. 2 guards dropped. The third rushed at him with a blade. Too close. Jace grabbed a loose pipe from the wall and smashed it into the guard's face. Blood splattered. The alien hit the floor. Silence. Returned, only for a second. Jace turned to Lyra. "We're not going to make it far if I carry you the whole way. You'll have to trust me." She nodded slowly. "You already risked your life. I will do what I can." They moved together, now slowly, Jace in front, Lyra close behind. Every hallway looked the same. Metal, wires, pipes. Every door looked like a trap. Then they heard something strange. Laughter, coming from above. Jace looked up, a glass ceiling above them. On the other side, Kraygon officers. Watch them from a command center. "They're toying with us," Jace growled. "They want us to run in circles," Lyra whispered. "They're playing a game." Jace clenched his jaw. "Then let's change the game." He kicked down a nearby door. Inside, storage, old weapons, tools, scrap. Not much, but better than nothing. Jace handed Lyra a small energy shield. "Strap this to your arm. Might buy you a few seconds if you're hit." She hesitated. "Why do you care?" He paused, then said, "Because someone has to. I know what it's like. To scream and no one answers." Her eyes softened. She nodded and took the shield. Suddenly, a deep alarm roared across the ship. Not just red lights now. A full lockdown. "This is bad," Jace muttered. "They're sealing the hangars." "What does that mean?" "It means we just lost our exit." Before Lyra could reply, the wall behind them exploded. Boom. Jace flew forward, crashing into crates. Lyra was thrown against the ground. Fire and smoke filled the room. From the smoke, a large figure stepped in. This was not a regular guard. This was a Kraygon enforcer, over 8 feet tall with metal armor built into its skin and a plasma axe glowing in one hand. Jace coughed, blood on his lip. "You've got to be kidding me." The enforcer roared and charged. Jace rolled away as the axe hit the floor, cracking the steel. Lyra crawled to the wall, trying to reach her pistol. Jace picked up a broken pipe again. "Really wish I had something bigger," he muttered. The enforcer swung again. Jace ducked under the swing and jabbed the pipe into its neck. The alien howled but didn't fall. "Lyra, now!" he shouted. She raised the pistol with shaking hands and fired. The shot hit the enforcer's shoulder. Not enough. Jace grabbed a loose wire from the wall and jammed it into the alien's back. Electricity shot through its body. The enforcer screamed and dropped. Smoke rose from its armor. It twitched, then went still. Both Jace and Lyra stood there, breathing hard. "Did we just kill that thing?" she asked. Jace wiped his forehead. "Yeah, I think we did." Suddenly the lights in the hallway flickered again, but this time they turned green. Jace looked up. Someone opened a path. "A friend?" Lyra asked. "Doubt it. But maybe a prisoner hacked the system. Whoever it is, they gave us a way out. Then let's take it." They ran again, not knowing where it led, but knowing one thing for sure. The real fight was just beginning, to be continued. The rescue room. The lights above flickered like a dying heartbeat. The green hallway pulsed before Jace and Lyra like a path made by fate or a trap waiting to close. Neither of them said a word. Jace held his rifle tight. Lyra, though still weak, pressed her back to the wall as they moved step by step through the steel tunnel. Behind them, smoke curled from the destroyed storage room. Ahead, silence. They reached the end of the hallway. A circular door stood in front of them, different from all the others. It was clean, undamaged, glowing softly. Jace frowned. "This isn't part of the prison section." Lyra's voice was quiet. This is an experiment room. He turned toward her. How do you know? Her eyes lowered. Because I was moved here once, right before they tortured me. This is where they tried to break my mind. Jace stepped closer. Then we end it here. With one hand, he reached toward the control panel. To his surprise, the door opened on its own. No code, no force, no delay. As if someone wanted them inside. The room beyond was cold and bright. Pure white walls. A high ceiling. Clear tanks lined the walls, each holding bodies in glowing fluid. Some were alien. Some were not. Jace froze. What the hell is this? They were testing us, Lyra whispered. Trying to mix DNA. They tortured, broke, and rebuilt living beings. Here, I heard the screams. She took a step toward one of the tanks. Inside floated a young creature, half Kraygon, half something else. Its eyes opened slowly and stared at her. Lyra looked away, shaking. Then something moved. From behind the tanks, a figure stepped out. Thin, tall, covered in a black robe, its face hidden behind a cracked mask. The figure spoke, a voice deep and echoing. You ruined everything. Jace raised his weapon. And who the hell are you? I am the architect of progress, it said. She was supposed to be the next step. But now, you've infected her with weakness, Lyra gasped. You were the one who ordered my torture. I enhanced you, the figure replied. Pain creates strength. You were becoming perfect. Jace fired without warning. The shot went through the air but hit a force field. The architect raised its hand. Jace's rifle flew from his grip and smashed against the wall. Let him go, Lyra shouted. But the figure didn't answer her. Instead, the ceiling above cracked open, and mechanical arms dropped from above. Two clamped onto Jace's shoulders, lifting him into the air. You're nothing but a savage, the architect hissed. You will die like one. Jace struggled, teeth clenched. But then, Lyra stepped forward, something inside her eyes changed. Her pupils began to glow. The room grew warmer. The lights above flickered. Again. But this time they weren't failing. They were reacting to her. You made me into this, she said coldly. Now watch what your weapon becomes. The room shook. The tanks exploded one by one, blue fluid spilling everywhere. Lyra raised her arms, and from her palms light burst out. Not fire. Not plasma. Life energy. It wrapped around the mechanical arms, melting them like paper. Jace dropped to the ground and rolled beside her. The architect stepped back. Impossible. You should not have. Your machine failed, she said. Because I was never just your experiment. Jace picked up his rifle and aimed. Let me guess, he said. No shield this time? The architect turned to run, but it was too late. Boom. The shot echoed through the room. The mask shattered. The body collapsed in silence. Jace and Lyra stood there, breathing hard. The tanks were destroyed. The hallway behind them was filled with smoke. And yet, something had changed. Lyra's power had awakened. But she looked scared. I didn't want to hurt anyone, she said softly. Jace gently touched her shoulder. You didn't. You protected us. He paused. And you scared the hell out of me, she laughed weakly. Good. Then, without warning, the walls began to hum. A voice came over the speaker. Auto-destruct sequence initiated. Jace blinked. Oh, come on, seriously? They ran, back through the hallway, back toward the escape bay, and behind them, the entire ship began to tear itself apart. But now they weren't just running from death, they were running toward a second chance. To be continued. Escape through fire. The walls trembled. Red lights flashed faster. From above, a robotic voice repeated the warning again and again. Auto-destruct sequence active. All crew evacuate, 10 minutes remaining. Jace tightened his grip on Lyra's hand as they raced down the slanted hallway. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Doors hissed shut behind them. The Kraygon warship was tearing itself apart from the inside. Where are we going? Lyra asked. her voice nearly lost in the roar. Jace turned sharply into a side passage. To the escape bay. If we're lucky, there's still one shuttle left. Another explosion shook the ground. Behind them, fire burst through a vent. Lyra stumbled. Jace caught her, pulled her forward. They ran. As they passed a broken window, Lyra glanced outside. Space glittered cold and endless. Below them, a dark planet spun slowly, its surface glowing red with lava rivers. If this ship falls, we'll burn, she said quietly. Jace didn't answer. He knew. He was thinking of the promise he made. To a dying alien brother. To himself. And now to her. They reached the lower level. The air was thicker here, filled with smoke and heat. Warning signs blinked everywhere in alien symbols. But one door ahead flickered green. Escape bay, Jace smiled. This is it. But as he reached the door, a shape stepped out of the shadows. A tall Kraygon warrior, scarred, armored, and holding a massive plasma blade. It wasn't a guard. This was the ship's executioner, a being trained for one task. Eliminate anyone who tries to escape. Jace froze. Lyra gasped. The executioner growled. You ruined the project. The hybrid is mine to destroy. Jace stepped forward. She's not a hybrid. She's not your project. She's free. The executioner laughed. Then die with her. He charged. Jace fired. But the blade blocked the shot. The giant swung. Jace dodged, barely. Sparks flew, as metal scraped metal. The executioner moved fast, too fast for his size. Jace ducked under another swing, slammed his fist into the Kraygon's stomach, but it was like hitting stone. The blade slashed across his shoulder. Blood sprayed. He fell back, teeth clenched in pain. Jace! Lyra screamed. He tried to stand. Too slow. The executioner raised his blade. But just before it fell, Lyra moved. She didn't run. She didn't scream. She stepped in front of Jace and raised her glowing hand. The executioner hesitated. Out of my way, girl. No, she said. I will not let you take him. Her entire body began to glow, white and blue light swirling around her like a storm. The executioner swung the blade, but it never reached her. A blast of energy surged from Lyra's palm, knocking him backward. He hit the wall with a deafening crack. The blade fell from his hand. He stood up, shaking, but now afraid. You're unstable. Lyra stepped forward, her voice calm. No, I'm stronger than you ever imagined, and I choose peace. She lifted both hands. This time the light didn't burn. It healed. The warrior's eyes widened. What are you? He collapsed, unconscious, but alive. Lyra turned back to Jace, who stared at her, speechless. You healed him? He asked. She helped him up. Yes, so he can wake up one day and understand mercy. Jace chuckled, blood dripping down his arm. You're incredible. And you're bleeding all over the floor. They limped through the final door together. Inside, the escape shuttle waited, one seat barely powered, lights flickering. Jace dropped into the pilot chair, typing fast. Come on, come on. The shuttle hummed to life. Lyra buckled in beside him. 4 minutes until detonation. The ship's voice warned. The hangar doors were still locked. Jace looked at Lyra. We're not going to make it unless we blow the doors. She nodded. Then do it. He pushed the button. A missile fired from the shuttle, striking the door. Boom! The stars appeared in front of them. Jace hit the throttle. The shuttle shot forward, behind them. The Kraygon warship lit up in a blinding explosion. Gone. Gone with its screams, its darkness, and its cruelty. Inside the small shuttle, silence fell. Only the hum of the engines and 2 quiet breaths remained. Jace leaned back, eyes closed. We made it. Lyra looked at him. You saved me. No, he said. You saved us both. She smiled. Outside the window, space stretched forever, and for the first time in days, they were free. To be continued. her hidden power stars, drifted slowly outside the small shuttle window. The warship behind them was gone. Only glowing debris remained, scattered across the darkness like broken bones. Inside the ship, Jace sat half-conscious, his wounded arm wrapped in emergency tape. Beside him, Lyra watched over him quietly. Her hand hovered near his chest, glowing softly. She didn't fully understand how she was healing him. She just knew she could. For the first time, the power inside her didn't feel dangerous. It felt calm, controlled. She whispered, "Breathe, Jace, just breathe." His chest rose and fell steadily. Lyra let out a breath of her own. They were safe, for now, but safety was short in space. The shuttle shook. Red lights blinked above. A voice crackled from the console. "Unidentified shuttle. This is Patrol Unit 7 of the Galactic Guard. You are entering restricted space. Prepare for boarding." Lyra's eyes widened. The Galactic Guard. They would never believe a human and an alien escaped a Kraygon warship together. Especially not if they scanned her DNA. She leaned over and typed a message. "Human prisoner rescued from Kraygon ship. Medical emergency. Do not fire." The reply came quickly. "Hold position. We are locking onto your ship now." A blue beam of light wrapped around their shuttle. The engines powered down. They were being pulled into a larger ship. Lyra's pulse quickened. Jace opened his eyes weakly. "What's happening?" "We're being boarded." He tried to sit up, groaning. "If they see me, they'll shoot. I've got a record." "You're not the one they'll fear," she whispered. "I am." The shuttle's door opened. Bright. Lights flooded in. Armored soldiers stepped inside, helmets down, weapons up. "Hands where we can see them," one shouted. Lyra raised her hand slowly. "We are not enemies." The guards looked at Jace, then at her. Then, one of them froze, his visor lifted. You're the Velitan healer. Lyra, you're alive." Lyra blinked. "You know me?" "I saw your image once. You saved hundreds during the Battle of the Black Sun. You vanished after that." The guard turned to the others. "Weapons down. She's one of us." The soldiers slowly lowered their rifles. Jace coughed. "I'm just the idiot who broke into a warship to bring her out." A few guards chuckled, but one didn't. A woman stepped forward, her uniform different, silver stripes across her shoulders. Her face was sharp, her tone colder than the others. Commander Vale. She studied Lyra with narrowed eyes. "You escaped? From Kraygon's?" Lyra nodded. "With him?" she added, nodding at Jace. Lyra hesitated. "Yes, he saved me." "Unlikely," the commander said. "Humans don't risk their lives for alien prisoners." Lyra stepped closer, her voice firm now. "Then perhaps you've met the wrong kind of human." Vale stared at her. "We'll see." She turned to her officers. "Take them to Med Bay. Scan them both. Full report in 1 hour." Jace was lifted gently by 2 medics. Lyra walked beside him. As they left, whispers followed them. Some called her brave. Others whispered dangerous. In the quiet of the medical room, machines scanned Lyra's body. One screen blinked red. The doctor looked concerned. "Something wrong?" Lyra asked. The doctor showed her the screen. "Your DNA, it's been altered. Not fully Velitan anymore. There's something new inside you." She already knew. "It happened in the lab," she said softly. "The Kraygons did something. I don't know what." The doctor nodded. "Whatever it is, it made you stronger." Lyra looked at her hands. They glowed faintly now, even when she wasn't trying. "But at what cost?" she whispered. That night, while Jace rested in the next bed, Lyra stood near the window, watching the stars. Something inside her had changed. She was no longer just a healer, she was something more, something the galaxy might fear, or might need. Jace stirred and opened one eye. "Can't sleep?" Lyra turned, smiling gently. "Too many thoughts." He sat up. "Tell me one." She hesitated. then said, "They changed me. I'm scared of what I'm becoming." Jace shrugged. "You blew up a monster, healed a killer, and saved a reckless idiot. Sounds like a good kind of change to me." She laughed quietly, then more serious. "What happens next?" Jace leaned back, looking at the stars. "They'll test you, question you. Some will want to use you, others will try to destroy you. And you? I'll be right beside you." Her smile faded slowly into something deeper, something real. She reached out, and for the first time since her capture, she felt safe. But far away, in a dark system, a Kraygon ship received a final transmission before the explosion. A voice whispered, "The hybrid has awakened." And somewhere in the shadows, new hunt was beginning, to be continued, the truth behind it all. The medical room aboard the galactic guard ship was quiet. Jay sat on the edge of the bed, wrapping fresh bandages around his shoulder. Lyra stood near the window, her glowing eyes staring at the stars. Neither of them spoke for a while. The silence was thick, like something unspoken hung between them. "Do you think they'll let us go?" Jace finally asked. Lyra didn't answer at first. Then she whispered, "They won't. Not yet." "I saw the way Commander Vale looked at me. Like you're a weapon," Jace said. She nodded. "And they're not wrong. I can feel something inside me, changing more each day." Jace stood and limped toward her. "You're still you, Lyra. You saved me. You healed a killer. You refused revenge." She looked at him now. "But what if they don't care? What if they only see what the Kraygons made me into?" Jace placed his hand on hers. "Then we show them the truth." Before she could answer, the door slid open. 2 armed guards stepped in. One held a data tablet. "Lyra of Velita. You're to come with us," the taller one said. "Where?" she asked. "To the main command deck. The council wants answers." Jace stepped forward. "She's not going alone." The guard looked unsure but nodded. "Fine, both of you." The command deck was massive. At the center was a circular platform with a glowing floor. Around it sat 6 high-ranking officers from various worlds, human, alien, and synthetic. Commander Vale stood at the front, arms crossed. Lyra stepped into the center. Jace stood beside her. A hologram of the destroyed Kraygon warship floated above them. "Explain," said a deep voice from one of the council members. "This level of powering from someone untrained. It shouldn't be possible." "They tortured her," Jace said. "They experimented on her DNA, mixed it with something they called phase core energy." Another council member leaned forward. "That's forbidden tech, lost during the siege of Talari." Lyra finally spoke. "They didn't just change my blood. They broke me and tried to rebuild me as a weapon." A synthetic counselor clicked its fingers. "Yet you destroyed their lab and spared the executioner?" "Yes," she said, "because I choose who I become, not them." The room was quiet for a moment. Then Commander Vale stepped forward. "Your DNA is unstable. You could become dangerous. We can't allow you to move freely." Lyra's eyes glowed brighter. "Then put me back in chains. See if that brings you peace." Vale stared hard at her, then turned to the council. "She is not a criminal, but she is no longer only Velitan. We should give her a choice." Jace looked at her. "You don't have to run, but if you stay, they'll test you again, lock you in labs, watch you like the Kraygons did." Lyra looked at the stars on the big screen. So many systems, so many voices, so much fear. Then she said, "I want to go back to Veleta, my home, my people. They must know I'm alive." Commander Vale nodded slowly. "Very well. You'll be escorted. 1 human may accompany you." Jace laughed. "Let me guess who." 2 days later. The shuttle entered Velitan space. Once green skies were now faded. Cities stood half empty. The war had left scars. When Lyra stepped onto the landing pad, a crowd had already gathered. Some gasped, Some cried. Others just stared. They had believed she died long ago. An elder stepped forward. Lyra, you were our brightest star. Now you return, different. She nodded. But still me. They welcomed her with open arms. Jace stayed back, unsure where he fit in this world. But Lyra pulled him close, made it clear. That night a celebration was held, but not everyone danced. In the shadows of Valeda, something stirred. Far away, in a dark system, another Kraygon ship activated. From the ruins of the destroyed warship, a backup clone of the architect had survived, weakened but alive. It whispered to itself, "The hybrid girl lives, but she is incomplete." Another voice answered through static, a secret Kraygon overlord. "She will return to us, or we will burn the stars to find her." Back on Valeda, Lyra stood under the twin moons. She watched the children dance around lights and the elders sing old songs. Jace joined her. "You thinking of them?" he asked. She nodded. "They're not done, the Kraygons. They'll come again. We'll stop them." Lyra turned to him, not just with weapons but with proof that their control failed, that kindness, even in pain, is stronger than power. He smiled. "And you're going to show them that?" She took his hand. "We are." The night wind blew softly through. Her silver blue hair, she was once a captive, once tortured. But now, she was something new. Not a weapon, not just a girl. Hope, and in a galaxy full of war, hope was the most dangerous thing of all. The end.